Hi, Jessica. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, good evening.
Okay. So starting in a minute.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to our October Twitter space hosted by Dear Nigeria. My name is Nana Ajayi, and I'm the media relations specialist for Dear Nigeria. This evening, we have an amazing lady who happens to be a petroleum engineer and an expert for our topic, which is inside the Dangote PENGASSAN clash. And I would love her to introduce herself briefly. Hi, Jessica.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Engineer Opodo Jessica, and I'm a petroleum engineer. I am a petroleum economist at Tenor Energy Resources, and we'll be talking about the Dangote Pegasin clash.
Thank you very much, Engineer Jessica. Now we can dive straight to the questions so that we can finish up on time for your next
Oh,
meeting.
okay, no
Uh,
problem.
First question. How does this clash reflect deeper structural issues in Nigeria's downstream sector?
Okay. Firstly, I would start with what really happened. We all know that Dangote dismissed about 800 of its staff and employed expatriates from India. This really affected our economy because it affected the labor system, making it look like the Nigerian labor system is unreliable, and it caused a lot of unemployment. And the dispute between these two organizations is it violated the rules and regulations. And Dangote insisted, which I felt that it was absolute abnormal for him to do, by saying he would pay 5 years upfront salary. It still doesn't suit the labor market, and it caused a lot of violations and a lot of policy shakes. So, but the first question, how does it clash? Well, it exposes the fragile institute of the downstream system. This highlights the lack of governance structures, regulatory bodies, and policy regulations. And for decades, we know that Nigerian's downstream sector has been dominated by state-run refineries with union workers, and the massive private refineries like Dangote, for instance, disputed this law, and it made a major crash, which is about 16% of the crude oil system in Nigeria, and it can result to fuel scarcity. I think there was if I'm not mistaken, there was a time period when this actually happened, about I think 3 weeks back. It happened and it caused a lot of fuel scarcity, and there was a lot of filling stations were not even selling fuel as of that time. And this industrial relation systems cannot evolve properly. The law states that you're supposed to involve the labor market. And if you do not involve the labor market, you have violated the rules. And in the instance, this incident reveals that there is no communication, there is no growing in Nigeria, and even in the transition system. So one day is where there is private capital and global management styles, this will not even happen in the first place. But the collision has already been made. So that's all I can say for that question.
All right, thank you very much. For the next one, what economic impact could the dispute have on fuel prices and market stability?
Okay. Well, it has already destabilized the Nigerian fuel market. If you notice, the fuel increased just a tiny bit. As of 3 weeks ago, it was reading as of 910, 920. But it has already destabilized the Nigerian fuel system. And if you have bought fuel, maybe in the past 3 weeks and even today, because I bought fuel today, and it was rating almost 980 naira. And this is for us that are in the FCT, Abuja, in the capital. I can imagine people way far south or way far north. I'm sure it will reach 1,000 again. And this projected to supply all over Nigeria. Like it went downstream, and um, the government's plan was to end import dependence. Where these operations were already erupted, the nation, Nigeria as whole, faced a lot of potential for scarcity. And it triggered, like I said earlier, it triggered price strikes. A lot of people were panicking buying. I remember I panicked. I went to buy full tank and for the next day to resort back to normal. And even increased, like ripple effects across transportation, food, resources, everything. If you were to go into the market and buy maybe a basket of tomatoes, you would hear outrageous prices. And you'll be like, yesterday I bought it for a different price. Why is it different today? Because of that clash, it resulted to so many disputes. Um, Nigeria already lost like a lot of money, to be very honest. I know it may look like a small percentage was lost, but we lost billions of naira. And it was estimated, like I said, to almost 16 to 18% of crude oil and gas was lost. And in the span of few hours, in the span of 48 to 72 hours, we lost about, I won't say an estimate, but we lost a lot of billions. And it affected a lot of consumers and even retailers. So if this should continue with time, it will disrupt the signal for international markets. And it's not good for our refinery system. And it can lead to even a high risk premium discouraging for trading for other countries which would like to trade with us and which would like to export. So it can actually affect our export systems, and it will even delay the stabilization of pump prices. So I know that I'm a typical Nigerian. I don't want to go back to buying fuel for 1.6 and 1.5. So um, that's all I can say for that question.
Thank you very much. Of course, nobody wants to go back to buying 4 for
Nobody
1.6
wants to go back to that.
online.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Cool. Next question, yeah.
Yeah.
Could strained labor-investor relationships threaten Nigeria's refining ambitions?
Yes, I would say definitely yes. I would definitely say yes. Because Dangote, we all know Dangote. I know there are other companies in Nigeria, but we all of us know Dangote, from their manufacturer of salt, from cement to even your macaroni and spaghetti. So Dangote is like the flagship for a larger agenda for Nigerians and for even other refineries that are coming up. I know that Nigeria as a whole has been trying to bring back their refineries. We're trying to bring back the Port Harcourt refinery and even the Warri refinery back to its glory. So Dangote is like a typical example, because in 2 years it has already done like what we could not expect from other refineries that have been in Nigeria for the long term. However, um, the investors that fear this labor disputes can paralyze $1 billion operation. And this can actually reduce exposure for us. It can reduce imports and even exports for us, and even high investments later in the future. Even as I'm speaking, I'm sure they are having various of meetings on this dispute that has just happened. Like I said, 48 to 72 hours of dispute can cost a lot. So for this labor clash, this clash reveals anxiety over unemployment and job security in Nigeria. And for investors, it underscores us, to be very, I don't know if you understand, it underscores us as Nigerian citizens. It just means that we don't value our labor market. And it has a high disadvantage over to investors that want to invest in our industry. If Nigeria is going to take this really high step again, or this high gap, it will attack world-class investors and even industrial projects, which cannot guarantee, because we as Nigeria as a whole, we really invest in people coming to invest in us. I don't know if that is understandable, but we are highly invested in people that also invest in us. And if this happens, if we take this huge risk again, because that's a large amount of people that he actually dismissed, 800. Wow. It will result to instability, and it will weaken our refinery systems, our refinery ambitions, and undermine unemployment. Sorry, to undermine employment and even undermine local employment goals. So yes, that's
And thank you very much. I remember that period where he sacked on like most of them,
yes,
and
800 actually, to be precise.
yes,
800.
yes, and nobody was smiling.
Nobody, the Pegasus wasn't smiling at all.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. The next one. How might these conflicts influence? How might these conflicts
Yeah.
influence investor confidence in the
Mm-hmm.
petroleum industry?
Okay. Um, the global and local investors may begin to demand stronger labor guarantees, risk insurance, and even clauses in labor markets before even financing any other projects like this. The clash would temporarily invade investor confidence by reinforcing Nigeria as a high risk operating environment. They will look at it like, why would I do this when after we invested so much, and this is what Nigeria uh, refinery industry has gotten into. Investors may price anyhow. Let me just put it like that. Let me not even use big grammar. They would price anyhow, and the idea that an organized labor dispute could halt such big crude and gas supply like that to a national refinery signals it makes us look like we're fragile and we don't know what we are doing. Because if you look at, for example, if you look at even other countries, you could see 80 to 90% of their labor markets are their citizens. But in Nigeria is otherwise. We look at, for instance, we see China, and we see India for their expatriates. We see them as high value people that will benefit us more than our citizens. But the talent is here. Oh. I know that our government and even people, well, it's not even about the government, even us as human beings in Nigeria, we devalue ourselves. We have like the talents are crazy. You can see in the music industry, you can see in the food industry, you can even see in the tech industry. Things are going far for Nigerians, but we are undermining ourselves. We are not looking at ourselves as high achievers. We rather bring people from abroad and think that they're going to save us. That's the white man's mentality. So this would actually make us look like we don't know anything, and it's bad because we are progressing in the world. We are we are aiming high. And if Nigeria is going to stick as it is, I don't know what's going to happen in the nearest future. So this is going to affect like a long term, and it depends on how the government is going to handle this situation. I know they're still having various meetings on this, and if they're going to be very transparent and they're going to literally put based on laws, it's going to protect the workers and even the investors and even the refinery system. So I best believe that the government should work on this highly so that we can restore back our confidence, and demonstrate that Nigeria can balance equality, equity, and even efficiency within its energy system.
Thank you very much for that. Your last question, final question. What policy fixes could prevent similar crises in the future?
Okay. I think they should update the labor laws. I think a lot of people, for instance, in the energy system and even in the petroleum and gas industry, a lot of people don't even know the full meaning of PIA, to be very honest. I think as of the PIA has been existing for quite some while, and people just see it as PIA. Nobody even understands what it does and what it means. Nobody understands that it's Petroleum Industry Act. Everything that revolves around the petroleum industry is what handles that. So I feel like they should update the labor laws, and they should educate a lot of even Nigerians, their bare citizens on this. They should review the Trade Union Act, because they are like anything that happens in Nigeria now instantly, like this, the Trade Union Act has said there will be a strike, and they need to update it, and even the labor relations law to reflect the complex of large scale private energy systems and enterprises, ensuring that there is a transparent union determination and restructuring. Then also, I think there should also be an implement of a local content skills framework, which can, if you now I know that Nigeria is bringing up different skills acquisitions all over the country. If you want to learn leather work, if you want to learn fashion, even music, even catering. So they should implement these skills too. They should replace expatriate dependence with a structured Nigerian plan, and they can educate technology transfer and even capacity building and even certification programs. You can apply, you can go to school just to know the benefits of all this. Then I think I would also say communication is key and transparency. Communication is key and transparency. Large refineries need to publish reports and communicate on its workforce composition and even community engagement to build trust and prevent misinformation. Everybody knows that the Indians and the Chinese are the most intelligent people in the world. So they need to actually communicate to us Nigerians so that we will not be misinformed that they are way better. Abi, let me use that grammar. They are way better than us. And then lastly, I would also say they should introduce protocols. What I mean is that, like, the no total shutdown is essential to industries, like to refinery industries. To maintain minimum optional levels, no total shutdown should be specified to these industries. Nobody wants to be sacked just like that and be replaced by people that that wanted to take our country from us years back. So they should implement these laws into the industry. And like I said, communication is actually key. Once they do this and they follow the rules and regulations. So here's the thing, industries don't follow rules and regulations. Everybody has their own plan. Everybody has their own backup plan. Everyone has what they want to do. that is not part of the rules and regulations. And this can result to a lot. Like I said, we lost billions of naira. It may look like nothing happened. Everybody's living their daily lives. Everyone is going with their daily activities. But Nigeria lost a lot of billions, and we all know that we are in debt recently. Abi, we are still in debt. So if we should follow these rules and regulations, I'm sure Nigeria will be a better country. And with our refinery system, to be very honest, we can do a lot better. We can go far and beyond. See what Dubai is doing. See what Kuwait is doing. Even some African countries are doing way better than us, and they're not even into this petroleum and gas as much as we are. We have the resources, and if we can just abide by these rules and regulations, that is all it takes. That is absolutely all it takes. So I think that's all I can say for the last question.
Thank you very much. That was actually impressive. Does anyone have questions? Based on what's discussed this evening, does anyone have questions? You might like to ask Engineer Jessica. Well, since no one has,
Okay.
Engineer Jessica, do you have any closing remarks you'd like to share with us?
Okay. I think I've said it in my few last sentence earlier that we need to do bigger as a country. Our refinery industry can go way beyond and far beyond. And like I said, we need to adapt to these rules and regulations. And once we do, everything will be perfect in Nigeria. I'm sure our industry needs that. We're already going big on exports already with food, and even our automobile industry itself is already doing perfectly fine, as I know, Sha. So if we can do this with our refineries, if our refineries can come back to life, I would use that English. If they can come back to life, and this local community chairmen, let me put it like that, can abide to these rules and regulations and not just think they can generate their own rules, I'm sure Nigeria will be a great country, and you will see a lot of tourism and a lot of attractions to Nigeria. So the way Nigeria reforms its labor investors relations affects everything that has to do with Nigeria. If this can be settled, it will determine whether the country's refineries dreams would mature into something big like an economic independence, or it might just remain trapped in these circles of industrial distribution. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining this October's Twitter space. Really means a lot. Uh, See you next month for our November Twitter space. Do have a lovely night rest.
You too. Thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much,
much.
dear Jessica.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Good night.
My pleasure.